morning, everyone. My name is Rachel Giraldi. I'll be leading our Story Sunday this morning. Gosh, October Story Sunday. We've almost done Story Sundays for a year now. That's pretty incredible. Before we get started with some songs and stories, are there any announcements that we'd like to share with each other? Okay, we're quiet this morning. You have an announcement? What's your announcement? Okay. I'm sure you do, Galilee. Okay, well, at this point, most of you guys know our opening song, so feel free to sing along as led. We start and end each of our Story Sundays with the same song. Oh, come on up. Let it go, my love, my truest love. Let it sail on silver wings. Life's a twinkling, that's for certain, and such a fine thing. We're a gathering of spirits, we're a festival of friends, and we'll pick up where we left off when we all meet again. I can't explain it, couldn't if I tried, how the only things we carry are things we hold inside, like a day out in the open, like a love we won't forget, like the laughter that we've started and hasn't died down yet. Let it go, my love, my truest love, let it sail on silver wings. Life's a twinkling, that's for certain, and it's such a fine thing. We're a gathering of spirits, we're a festival of friends, and we'll pick up where we left off when we all meet again. Oh yeah, didn't we? Don't we make it shine? And aren't we in the middle of something rare and fine? Some glow like the embers, some through colored glass, and some give it all in one great flame, throwing kisses as they pass. Let it go, my love, my truest love, let it sail on silver wings. Life's a twinkling, that's for certain, and it's such a fine thing. We're a gathering of spirits, we're a festival of friends, and we'll pick up where we left off when we all meet again. Yes, we'll pick up where we left off when we all meet again. Another Story Sunday, picking up where we left off. Well, this Story Sunday, we are going to talk a little bit about quieting ourselves and listening deeply. And we're going to sing some songs, and we're going to be in silence together for a little bit, and we're going to read some stories. But before we get there, like we do every Story Sunday, we light the peace candle. Now, the story of the peace candle. Can you remember any of the story of the peace candle? So once, long time ago, there was a time where there was a village, there was a town where people were very angry at each other. They fought a lot, they were greedy, they didn't share what they had, they yelled and screamed at each other. They were very nasty and angry people. But as tradition was, they all came to church on Sunday. And usually they would stay in their pews and they wouldn't talk to each other, and they would just do the motions and do the prayers and then go home. Well, one Sunday, a woman came, and she came up to the center part of the church with a tiny little candle, and she said, "Oh, I had a dream last night. I had a dream that if we lit this candle and we all prayed for peace, we prayed that our hearts and our minds would change just a little bit, we might all be a little kinder, friendlier, nicer to each other." And so the church lit that tiny little candle, and everyone took a moment and prayed for peace. They prayed that their hearts and their minds would be changed just a little bit so that they all might experience that peace. Well, that week, when people went home, everyone thought about it just a little bit. They thought, maybe instead of yelling and screaming at each other, we could be a little nicer. Maybe we could share what we had. Maybe we could do something nice for our neighbors. And so that week, just a little bit of change happened. Well, the next Sunday, somebody else came to the church with another little candle, and they too lit the candle, and everyone prayed for peace. And once again, the hearts and the minds of the people in that church were changed just a little bit. Just a little bit. Welcome. And so each Sunday, the whole community of the church prayed for peace, and each Sunday, people became kinder and nicer. And peace spread further and further and further through the community. Well, the town next to them heard what was happening, and the town next to them heard what was happening, and they too started lighting candles. And their communities became more peaceful as well. And this spread all across the country, all across the world, until this day. On Sundays, congregations, churches all around the world light the peace candle and pray for peace. We pray that our minds and our hearts be changed just a little bit to make our communities, our homes, our countries, our world a little bit more peaceful. So I invite you to join me in saying the prayer which is on your program. And Gideon's going to come up and help me light the peace candle. In Christ was life, and with life was the light of the world. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness does not overcome it. Let us pray for peace and the things that make for peace as we light the peace candle. May our hearts and our minds be filled with peace and bring that peace into our homes, our communities, and the world. Amen. And we sing a peace song each week, and this one is an old familiar favorite. So if you know the motions, you are welcome to stand up. Gideon's going to help me teach the motions of I've got peace like a river. So you're welcome to stand up if you're able. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Love like an ocean? Can you show them what it is? I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. Joy like a fountain? I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. Thank you. So you are young or young at heart and would like to come up and see our puppet show a little closer, you are welcome to. I just ask that you stay on the ground and not on the risers. This is the story of Elijah and the still small voice. Once upon a time, there was a town, not unlike the town that we just talked about, that was angry with each other. There was a lot of fights, and people stole a lot of things and were greedy, and they didn't do all the things that God wanted them to do. For God is love, and these people didn't love each other. They were mean, nasty. It was a very hard place to live. And Elijah, he went around telling people, God is love. Please be kinder to each other. Please love each other, share. Please help each other, be in community. And everyone was rah, 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 rah. In fact, they grumbled and they yelled so much at him that they started to chase him out of town. Elijah was scared. He just wanted everyone to love each other, and everybody was being really, really mean. And so he ran away from the town, and he went into the wilderness. Now, this was a time where people thought that God lived up in the top of mountains. Sometimes when we think of God, we think of something far away, something grand and big, and if we went to the top of a mountain, we'd be a little closer to that grand and big thing. And so as Elijah was wandering through the wilderness, he thought, oh, if only I could talk to God. If only I could talk to God and explain to God that these people just need some love in their hearts, maybe God would help me. Maybe God would show me what I could do to help these people be more loving. And he looked around and he saw a big, tall mountain. He thought, okay, I'm going to climb that mountain and I'm going to go talk to God. So he went up to the mountain and he climbed and he climbed. Oh, it was a really tall mountain. He went up and he went up and he went up and he went up. Oh, it was a really hard mountain to climb. And he got to the top, and lo and behold, there was a cave. He sat down in the cave. He was so tired. He sat down in the cave and he prayed. He said, please, God, I just need to talk to you. Please, God, show yourself. I just need to know what to do to help these people have love in their hearts. And he prayed so long and so hard, and he was so tired that he fell asleep. Well, he was awoken by the sound of lightning and thunder. Flash, flash, flash. And he looked and he said, God, are you there? Are you there? But God was not in the lightning or the thunder. Strange, because sometimes it feels like God is so big that God could be lightning and thunder. But in this case, God was not in the lightning or the thunder. The storm passed, and Elijah fell asleep again. The next time he woke, the whole mountain was moving. It was a big earthquake. Boom, boom, boom. He was so afraid. He said, God, is that you? Is that you? But God was not in the earthquake. Usually it feels like something big, like an earthquake. God would be there, but in this case, God was not. It was just the earth moving. And the earthquake subsided, and Elijah went back to sleep. Now, for a third time, Elijah awoke. This time he looked out and he saw a huge cyclone tornado of fire that was dancing all around the mountain. It was terrifying. Can you imagine a huge tornado of fire? Ooh. And he said, God, is that you? But there was no answer. For as crazy and loud and big and scary as the tornado of fire was, God was not in the tornado of fire. So Elijah went back to sleep. Now, some time went past, and Elijah woke up and he heard something. It was a whisper, Elijah, Elijah. And he stood up and he looked around the cave and he looked around the mountain and he said, who's there? Who's there? Who's calling my name? All he heard was, Elijah, Elijah, Elijah. And he looked around and he said, God, is that you? And he sat back down because he realized that the voice wasn't coming from the cave. It wasn't coming from the mountain. It was coming from his heart. He said, God, is that you? And God said, yes, here I am. So Elijah took some deep breaths. Can you take a deep breath with me? He said, God, please teach me. Please teach me how to change the hearts and the minds of the people down below. Please help me bring love into the world. And so God responded. And Elijah and that still small voice inside of him had a conversation. God taught him many things about changing the hearts and the minds of the people. God taught Elijah that he would find a friend named Elisha, and together they would go down back to the people. God told him that some people God would take care of, and other people Elisha and Elijah needed to help. And Elijah listened, and he climbed down that mountain, and he went out, and soon he found Elisha. And the two of them went back to the town, and doing all the things that God had shown Elijah, they changed the hearts and the minds of the people to live in a more peaceful and loving world. I wonder what you liked best about that story. Anyone is welcome to respond. I wonder what you liked best about that story. I wonder if there's any part of that story that stood out for you, sparkled. Or maybe you have a question about. I wonder. Yes, what do you wonder? Elijah and Elisha?
They both went out, and what did they do to make the people nice?
The Bible tells us a few things, but I wonder what you imagine. What do you think they did to help people's hearts be nicer? You don't know? I wonder. It's a good wondering. Yes, Kim?
I wonder what they did to change people's hearts and minds.
Yeah, me
And
too.
what God did.
And what God did. I wonder.
I see the boy. I don't know.
What other wonderings might you have? I wonder. Yes.
I wonder if Elijah was surprised that he had to wait for God to be silent to hear God. That surprised him.
I wonder if it surprised him that God came from inside him and not these big, grandiose things. I wonder if he was scared when he heard that voice inside him. Like, whoa, there's God. I wonder. Well, let's keep wondering as we learn more about listening and loving. So I'm going to teach you guys a song, and you're welcome to stand up if you'd like. And I'm going to sing a line. Galilee, can you move away from my guitar? Okay, thank you. I'm going to sing a line, and you're welcome to repeat it. And this is a song that I taught last week, but I'm going to sing half the line, and then we're going to repeat it. And we're just going to go through it once. This is Teach Me to Stop and Listen. So I'll sing half the line, and then you're welcome to repeat. Teach me to stop and listen. Teach me to stop and listen. Teach me to center down. Teach me to center down. Teach me the use of silence. Teach me the use of silence. Teach me where peace is found. Teach me where peace is found. Teach me to hear your calling. Teach me to hear your calling. changes up a little bit here. Teach me to be collected. Teach me to be collected. Teach me to be in tune. Teach me to be in tune. Teach me to be directed. Teach me to be directed. Silence will end so soon. Silence will end so soon. Then when it's time for moving, then when it's time for moving, grant that I may bring, grant that I may bring to every day and moment, to every day and moment, peace from a silent spring, peace from a silent spring.
Okay, look at this book. You can't tell anything from the cover. Just a plain... Oh, well, that's kind of good that you can't tell anything from the cover, right? It's going to be a surprise. So here we go. Quiet. One word is the title, just quiet. My, oh my, the grandfather said, everything is in such a hurry. You can tell, look at the trees, the flowers are moving, there's a lot of wind. Everybody is hurrying. The birds are flying so fast. How fast they're flying? And our dog is rushing after the ball, said the girl. I see a frog jumping high into the pond, said the boy. And a dragonfly zooming over the water. That's a lot of hurrying words, zooming, rushing, jumping. Even the trees, here's another hurrying word, even the trees are waving their leaves. Busy as can be. Let's not be so busy. You can sit right here next to me. The birds, look at the birds here, are just like us, taking a rest, singing their songs. Our dog is tired. I think he's dreaming. You're very quiet when you're sleeping and dreaming. The frog is sitting and blinking. The frog is sitting and blinking. The dragonfly has stopped beating its wings. Let us be quiet like all of our friends, quiet and very still. The page here. Oh, I can think when I'm quiet. And I can see when I'm quiet. To be quiet and very still is a special thing. It takes a while. It takes practice.
Before we go to our second story, I'm going to invite people to stand up. Gideon's been teaching me some meditation that the Newton School has been teaching their students as well. So I invite you to stand up if you're able. Just do a little stretch first. Stretch like a tree up into the air. Move your body as you need to. Gideon was telling me about the technique called a shark fin. Right? And you breathe, you sort of start here, and as you breathe out, you're going to lower, you start here. And as you breathe out, slowly you bring it down, right? You start closing your eyes slowly. As it passes your mouth. So, breathe in. Bring it down on your heart. And should we do it again? Okay, breathe in. To your heart. Let's do it one more time. Breathe in. And then down. Thank you. We're going to do that a little later, okay? Okay. Thank you. Let's read our second story now. Galilee, do you want to sit on my lap for the next story?
Come on, let's go look at the book pages and listen to the words. Sorry, Galilee. Emmy, come on, honey.
Everybody ready? Good, everybody's ready.
This story is called The Other Way to Listen. And it doesn't have a lot of pictures and it has a lot of words. And I invite you, when I'm saying a lot of the words, to close your eyes and just picture yourself in that situation. Picture yourself there. The other way to listen. Okay, that's the first picture. Okay, you might close your eyes now and just imagine yourself in this story. I used to know an old man who could walk by any cornfield and hear the corn singing. Teach me, I'd say when we passed on. I never said a word while he was listening. Just tell me how you learned to hear that corn. And he'd say, it takes a lot of practice. You can't be in a hurry. And I'd say, I have the time. He was so good at listening. Once, he heard wildflower seeds burst open, beginning to grow underground. That's hard to do. He said he was just lucky to have been by himself up there in the canyon after a rain. He said it was the quietest place he'd ever been, and he stayed there long enough to understand the quiet. I said, I bet you were surprised when you heard those seeds. But he said, no, I wasn't surprised at all. It seemed like the most natural thing in the world. And he just smiled, remembering. He told me how a friend of his once heard a whole sky full of stars when she was 7. Just close your eyes a minute. Just imagine that sky of stars and hearing them if you're really quiet. And later on, when she was 83, a little bit later, she heard a cactus blooming in the dark. At first, she didn't know what she was hearing. She found it by just following the sound. There were 20 flowers on one cactus, and they were all white as the moon. The old man said, most people never hear those things at all. I said, I wonder why. He said, you just don't take the time you need for something that important. I said, I'll take the time, but first you have to teach me. He said, I'd like to if I could, but he said, the thing is, you have to learn it from the hills, the ants, the lizards and weeds and things like that. They do the teaching around here. Well, I said, just give me a clue on how to start. And so he said, do this. Go get to know one thing as well as you can. It should be something small. Don't start with a mountain. Don't start with the whole Pacific Ocean. Start with one seed pod, or one dry weed, or one horned toad, or one handful of dirt, or one sandy wash by the river. I said, I think I'll take the sandy wash. He said he started with one single tree. Okay, close your eyes if you can. Every morning of his life, when he was young, he climbed a cottonwood and he sat there listening. Oh, I'm in that cottonwood. Are you there? He told me it was worth the time. He said, trees are very honest. They don't care much for fancy people. And he said he doesn't know of anything he ever did as important as sitting in that tree. Tell me everything you can, I said. He said, well, you have to respect that tree or hill or whatever it is you're with. Take a horned toad, for example. If you think you're better than a horned toad, you will never hear its voice, even if you sit there in the sun forever. And he said, don't be ashamed to learn from bugs or sand or anything. And I said, I won't. He thought of one more thing to tell me. It's good to walk with people, but sometimes go alone. That way, he said, you can always stop and listen at just the right time. I'll remember everything I said, and I did, but nothing worked for me. I thought there must be something wrong with me because I only heard wind and quail and coyotes and doves, just the things that anyone else could hear. I almost gave up trying. Of course, I still went walking in my hills. In fact, I used to sing to them a lot. I thought that since they wouldn't sing to me, I'd just sing to them instead. The day I'm telling you about now, I was singing, and the whole song was just this. Hello, hills. Hello, hills. Hello, hills. Hello. That was after I'd been away 5 days, and I had missed those hills 5 whole days. I went out a little earlier than usual. You know how everything looks new at sunrise? Well, all those hills were looking so new. I was just walking where I always walk, but that morning I kept thinking, here I am. and whatever way I happened to go was always right. I climbed the rocky side, not the path. The rocky side is steeper, but I like it best. And anyway, that's where I found my 3 hawk feathers. I stood at the top where I always stand looking down. Hello, hills. Hello, hills. Hello, hills. Hello. All I know is that suddenly I wasn't the only one singing. The hills were singing too. I stopped. I didn't move for maybe an hour. I never listened so hard in my whole life. Of course, their kind of singing isn't loud. It isn't any sound you can explain. It isn't made with words. You couldn't write it down. All I can say is it came straight up from those dark, shiny lava rocks humming. It moved around me like the wind, and it seemed to be the oldest sound in the world. All I can say is I was standing in the middle of the sound at 7 o'clock in the morning, just thinking, here I am, and thinking, listen, and not even being surprised. It seemed like the most natural thing in the world.
Thank you so much. It seemed like the most natural thing in the world. Another way to listen. I wonder how you listen. I wonder how you listen. What are some ways that you listen? I know that sometimes my kids listen even while I'm talking, even when there's lots of noise. They're still listening. I wonder where you listen, how you listen. I wonder. Okay, we have a couple songs left. You're welcome to grab some music if you want, but I'm going to teach a new song, brand new song. And this is a song I recently learned. I'm going to sing 2 lines, and then invite you to repeat, and then the next 2 lines, and then we'll sing it the rest together. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song, excuse me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She says, stand in your power, children, stand in your power. Listen, 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 listen. She says, stand in your power, children, stand in your power. Listen, 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 listen. When we do the listen, listen, you can go, listen, 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 listen. Okay, all together. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She says, teach them, be wise, grow and teach them, be wise. Listen, 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 listen. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She says, wake up, children, wake up, listen, 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 listen. I hear the voice, 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 listen, listen. Listen, listen. Listen, listen. Well, I hope that from the stories and the songs today, there might be just a moment in your week, in your days, that you take a moment and listen to the apple trees, to the birds, to that still small voice inside of you. May you listen to your heart for that peace, for that love that is available to all. May you take a moment to listen this week. Let it go, my love, my truest love. Let it sail on silver wings. Life's a twinkling, that's for certain, and it's such a fine thing. We're a gathering of spirits, we're a festival of friends, and we'll pick up where we left off when we all meet again. I can't explain it, couldn't if I tried, how the only things we carry are things we hold inside, like a day out in the open, like a love we won't forget, like the laughter that we started and hasn't died down yet. Let it go, my love, my truest love. Let it sail on silver wings. Life's a twinkling, that's for certain, and such a fine thing. We're a gathering of spirits, we're a festival of friends, and we'll pick up where we left off when we all meet again. Oh yeah, didn't we? Don't we make it shine? And aren't we in the middle of something rare and fine? Some glow like the embers, some through colored glass, and some give it all in one great flame, throwing kisses as they pass. Let it go, my love, my truest love. Let it sail on silver wings. Life's a twinkling, that's for certain, and it's such a fine thing. We're a